Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. I'm your host, Overlord Jebus.
We have to keep this in.
It's funny because earlier today I thought about doing the same thing.
We're just a bunch of mega fans giving you the news and our opinions on the cosmere.
No, you screwed it up. You screwed it up.
With me today is, as always, is Ian.
Hello,
No, what?
I'm WeiryWriter.
That's not even how we do this anymore.
And Evgeni.
Hello.
And joining us for the first time ever is Eric.
Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news discussion and, of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works in the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
We are keeping all of that in, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm WeiryWriter.
Also joining me is Evgeni.
Hello, I'm Eric.
And lastly, who tried to do a coup on Shardcast is Ben.
Hi, guys. You know me as Brandon Sanderson on the forum.
Yeah, that's definite. Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. This week we are talking about more Words of Brandon from the Legion release. Clearly our cast members are taking my words of goofing a little too seriously. But let's go right into it.
So this next one is talking about the cognitive realm and how the places between planets are compressed. And it's like, once space travel happens, will those expand? And Brennan's, no, it's that there's so few people there that it's not going to expand outside of space stations and such. And
Cool.
He also talks a little bit about the question about whether the space race will happen more or less quickly. If you know there are other planets out there with people, but you also have an easier way of getting to them, how will things turn out?
Space race.
Yeah.
Happen faster or slower, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting because we've got some planets can access the cognitive realm much easier than others, and I think that's one of the reasons that I think the ones above are theorized to be Scadrian so strongly is one of the reasons that Scadrial doesn't have a very easy way of getting to the cognitive realm, unlike Roshar, where it's pretty easy. There's just like a bunch of mountains.
Well, I mean, it could be. It could be easy. We just haven't found Harmony's perpendicularity.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it could be easy. But they're also theorized to be the Scadrians because we know they will definitely get FTL travel.
Yes, we also know that
sure.
the Scadrians definitely will get lots of spaceships in the future.
For the record, I am opposed to the Scadrians as ones above theory.
Your concern is noted.
Noted. Moving on.
And I do think that Roshar is going to get FTL tech because the Fabrials are very good for that.
Yeah, but it's really
In my
easy to get to the cognitive realm in...
Yeah, with Elf Scholars, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows how the end of Stormlight will be, if there will
That's
be
true.
more Elf Scholars.
Maybe.
Cool.
Moving on, as I said.
Yes.
Steel Dancer returns from the first episode of this Shardcast because
Yes.
he was not made enough fun of.
Yeah, that's right.
And
We love you, Steel.
asks whether if you combine a steel compounder and an edge dancer,
And Brandon goes, here we go, and the audience laughs.
and then Brandon for some reason says open bracket, audience laughs, close bracket. That's a weird thing to say, Brandon. What could it mean? We don't know. So how fast could they go? Asks Steel.
Eric, if you just want to edit in, like, the Sonic theme tune at this point...
Just in the background.
This video has been flagged for copyright infringement.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
They could go quite fast, says Brandon, annoyed at the presumed assumption by the Steel Dancer. Not quite superhero level fast, but pretty fast. So they're not gonna like outrace an atomic bomb. They're not the Flash, but they can go fast.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Next one is from Slow Swift.
Hi.
Hey, Slow Swift.
It's like we have a lot of people from Utah who are in the 17 Shard and the Discord. It's crazy.
It's shocking.
I know.
Connection on Scadrial if you try to use it in a neutral zone.
So presumably, like, not Scadrial.
No, like, as in, this land is not claimed by any nation.
Oh.
What if you read the answer to the damn question?
Brandon then says, a neutral zone between nations? I will raffle that. It is something I have considered. So,
hey, crazy.
Oh, I guess he's just kind of asking if it works similar to sell list magic, where is it tied to like the country you're in? I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's like
anywhere in
if
the
you
cosmos.
tapped it in international waters.
Yeah, right. You don't have a connection to any specific nation. Sure.
Yeah, but the laws also don't apply in international waters, so you can just do anything if you want. You could burn steel and get.
I'm not sure
I
that's
don't
how
know how
international
that
waters
Nah,
work.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
The laws of the Kazmir don't work there.
Look, that's just because you're British, Ben. Like, of course you don't think the laws apply to you because you just draw maps and just do like, the maps look good here.
Yeah, it's like
This country now has our law.
Yeah.
Next question. Are we just going to see Zeth kill a lot of people in the next book? And Brandon says, Zeth has some better influences that he's had in a long while. He did have some good influences early on, but it's been a long time since he's had as good influences as he now has. I wouldn't count Nightblood as one of those, but at the same time, he's had worse influences than Nightblood.
Jesus.
Good God, Seth. I'm sorry.
Who's a worse influence than the guy who wants to murder everyone all the time?
To be fair, the Stone Shamans...
Yeah.
For the record, Taravangian, who ordered him to kill a whole bunch of people.
You're not wrong.
Taravangian is a star among us, Ian. Not really.
It makes me sad every time Brandon refers to Taravangian as a villain. And I'm like, no. I like him, though.
His plan was terrible.
Technically,
but we
he's an
don't know this.
anti-villain. Because
In a way.
Explain.
he's trying to do the right thing the wrong way. Like, it's like he feels like he has no choice but to do the wrong thing.
Okay.
Great. Next question.
So, Queen Aesudan,
Sweden.
not
No,
Aesudan,
That is
Aesudan.
not what Brandon says.
I don't care what Brendan says.
Oh, do you mean Queen Aesudan?
Yeah.
Aesudan.
Yeah, Queen of
Aesudan.
Sweden.
Who's this character? you're referring to?
Aesudan. That's exactly what's there.
That's what I just said, Aesudan.
No,
Not Aesudan.
what?
Okay.
Wait, what? No, you said Aesudan.
He's getting better.
Aesudan.
He's
Like-
getting better.
Same difference.
Which is different.
Okay.
Aesudan.
Okay. Queen Aesudan.
All of this
Aesudan.
is staying in, and you can just see the madness. Like, what just happened?
Queen
Welcome to a preview of
Aesudan,
Pronunciation Cast.
when we see her in Kolinar, seems to have some knowledge of Gavilar's doings and his plans. And given Gavilar's propensity for trying to marry his children to members of secret societies, as seen with Yasna and Amaram, was Queen Aesudan a member or affiliate of the Sons of Honor? Raffo.
That is an excellent question, though.
It is.
Do we
And
think that Aesudan was?
I think, if anything, she was a daughter of honor.
you're being presumptuous?
So you think she's a
The
windspread?
Sons of Honor were very, it was a sausage party at the Sons of Honor.
I mean, like that's in the name, right?
Yeah.
No, okay, not gonna go there. This is also so Aesudan's maybe affiliation with Sons of Honor was also touched in the Keeping Up with the Collins Part
Yep.
2.
I was going to say,
Yep.
I don't know if this question was inspired by that Keeping Up with Colins, because you definitely talked about this, but if
We
it was,
definitely did.
well done for asking that, and if it wasn't, then also well done for asking that.
No, good.
Good question.
And if you haven't listened to that and you somehow saw the future, don't, because that's of the enemy.
Yes!
Great.
Moving away from Roshar, but also staying in Roshar, we have a question about whether people age in the cognitive realm and how that happens, because Azure is a thing now. And Brandon says that people do age in the cognitive realm, asterisk, which is an interesting thing to say, Brandon, because last episode we figured out that Azure's blade's name was asterisk, and now you bring it up again in the context of Azure.
Coincidence? Oh my god.
If you get stabbed by asterisk, you stop aging in the cognitive realm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Nailed
what
it.
That's what he means there.
Nailed it.
With the nail gun.
From Nail,
Yeah.
the Herald. Easy.
Excellent.
Cool.
Do we have any actual analysis on that one?
Oh, yeah, the question. We can talk
Oh, yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
I mean, you do age, but asterisk.
Differently?
Maybe differently.
Yeah. My assumption has always been, hey, space works differently in the cognitive, so shared time also does work differently.
Maybe like sometimes it's compressed and sometimes it's like normal time. Maybe I don't know.
Like maybe time is compressed in the same way space is compressed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Because space time. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Like if you're walking, off a planet, then maybe that time is literally being compressed for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. No, I dig that.
That seems reasonable. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I could see that. Cool. So, this questioner wants to know that Hoyd knew all of the 16... Well, we know that Hoyd knew all of the original vessels, all 16 of the original vessels. Was he involved in their little, we're going to go shatter an Elysium thing? And Brandon says, involved under loose definitions, yes. And
that's interesting because we know that Hoyd was there.
Yep.
Was Hoyd...
We also know that he was not the weapon.
Yep.
But if it was his idea, he's not involved, like, technically he's involved with their plans because they're his plans.
Like he was an Aristotle, and he wrote about the philosophy of shattering Adon Elysium.
This makes it seem like Hoyd was not literally wielding the weapon, as we just suggested.
Unless they slipped it in his pocket.
This is one of the reasons that having Arcanum is amazing, because we can listen to the audio, because I have a feeling Brandon might be being facetious here, where he's being, like, involved, under loose definitions, yes, like, implying he was very involved. So, I'm gonna go listen to that audio. Okay, so I just went and listened to the audio because I thought maybe Brandon was being sarcastic, and I don't think he was.
Yeah.
Great.
Which is strange, because that kind of kills he was the wielder of the weapon thing, but I really like that.
It really does.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not sarcastic. Like, it seems like he's less involved than we perhaps think.
Unless
maybe he tried to stop them. Maybe, I don't know.
What if he was involved in the sense that he was originally involved? So we do have a word of Brandon that Hoyd was offered the shard and he denied it. Right. And we've been assuming that this was after the shard. So they break Adon Elysium down and they go, hey, Hoyd, you want this piece? And they're like, nah, man.
Yeah.
What if it was before where they go, okay, we're going to do this thing. Hey, Hoyd, you want in? And then he's like, nah, man. And then they go on and do the thing. And so maybe
that's an interesting idea.
Maybe it's a little more involved, like there was actual planning going on, and at some point Hoyd was like, okay, we've talked about this for half an hour, I'm not feeling it, I'm out.
I would compare that more to Kaladin being involved in the Elahakar assassination thing and then turned against that kind of thing.
Yep.
But how much did they know if they killed Adon Elysium that they would shatter into this many pieces? Like, how much did they actually know?
Yeah. And there's also the possibility that kind of the reverse of what you were saying, Evgeni, where he wasn't involved in the planning at all and then kind of came in near the end and kind of just, not like stumbled upon it, but kind of, he wasn't involved in the... Be like, what up, guys? Oh, what are you killing this god? Let me join in. Whee! And then like... That, or he was an unwilling participant as well. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
A lot of possibilities there.
There is.
Cool.
So, good question, but the answer is like, well, thanks.
Well, so it does
Brandon.
actually change our perception.
It does. So it does. I guess it eliminates possibilities.
Yep. Look, process of elimination. We'll get to the truth eventually.
In 30 years.
Can't wait
30 years. Yeah, when he writes Dragonsteel.
Can't wait till I'm 50 and I finally know what happens with Hoyd.
Yep. Next question. Was Urithiru created by Honor? Brandon, Raffo.
Okay.
Next swap.
I think it has to, by the way. Because it's so specific and Radiance didn't exist.
It does seem difficult for it to be created by human hands.
Oh, yeah. I definitely do not think it was created by hand. It was definitely magically created. But
okay, sure.
Honor doesn't have to have been the one that did it.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot going on with Urithiru and Roshar.
Yep, I agree.
Yep. We will definitely read and definitely find out later, because there are lots of mysteries. Cool.
Okay. So this next questioner asked about what happens if a gold fairing gets electrocuted. Would he still get paralyzed, or heal, or react normally? And Brandon's basically saying that word of Brandon canon, they would act exactly the same because it's technically not damaging anything. So
it's not damaging the muscles.
Yeah, it's just how muscles work.
Yeah.
So you can stun them that way. Interesting.
It is interesting, yep.
That's cool. Cool.
Not much to talk about in this one. So we're going to move on to a Scadrial question.
Move on from Scadrial to Scadrial.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
The question was specifically about Goldfairy.
Who's that non-Cosmere character who's not paying any attention to what's going on?
His name's Evgeni. Nailed it.
Woo!
+1 to me. Cool.
Hint number 1, he's speaking right now. So one of the things we know about Mistborn powers is that they get weaker over time through the bloodlines. It happened the first time Allomancers were created. It's happening now with Era 2. Questioner asks whether that's going to continue moving on to the point where in Era 3 and Era 4, the powers are so weak they're practically useless. To which Brandon says that there is essentially a maximum level of dilution. So there's probably a decay curve where the powers grow weaker very quickly, and then it kind of stops and practically doesn't get any weaker. So Era 3 is not going to have that problem, and they're also going to try to figure out a way around that.
So there was a previous word of Brandon where he said that Era 2 is about as diluted as it's going to get.
Yep.
Maybe, yeah.
But there was also another one from this event that touched on this, where he said that once you get to Era 4 and you get Scadrians interbreeding with other planets, then it's going to become a factor again.
Yeah, he also said the southern continent in that one too, Ian.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think this maximum level of dilution is just because that genetic propensity of that magic is just roughly equally spread in the population.
Yeah.
And so, like, it can't get diluted anymore. But if you add, like, a ton of other people that's now interbreeding, then it can decay more.
Yeah, like, if you expand the population...
Oh, because everyone is kind of on the same level now, and it can't go any lower?
Yeah.
Right. But if you go to other planets and then that to a group that doesn't have any genetic propensity to that, then it would get lower.
I wonder if
be spread out more.
I wonder if because he's talked about how he doesn't. This is the lower the power level gets, but I wonder if once those more populations come in, it'll just become rarer, and we'll keep the same power level. Because you don't want to get to the point where Allomancy is just rubbish and doesn't do anything.
I think there's a certain threshold where it's like below that point you just don't have the magic.
Yeah.
Like it won't
there's
manifest.
A threshold where, you needed the mist to snap you. Like that's a totally different power level than we have right now, right?
Yeah.
Like where you need outside intervention to help you be an Allomancer.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, they'll just have a mechanical access to the
exactly. They'll just have
the thing, so it doesn't really even matter for
Fabrials.
Yeah. No, the medallion.
Yep. Moving on!
Cool. Okay, so this next WoB just basically is quite a similar taser question. Would a Kandra react the same if it was tased? And Brandon said...
Welcome to Tasercast!
If they're not expecting it, they would react the same, but if they are expecting it, they may be a bit more resilient to it. Questioner then asks if it would be an effective revealing method, and Brandon said he's going to raffo that because he's raffoing everything to do with identifying Kandra in the future.
Which we talked about last time. Last time, but in the Fanex swap.
Yeah, where he said he doesn't want a blood test to be able to reveal them, but he does it. So he hasn't quite canonized this yet.
Yeah, this is mostly Brandon making sure he doesn't say anything too early and then have to retcon it essentially.
Well, in Era 4, which is safe. It
makes sense because identifying Kandra is going to be something that's like story related, and so he doesn't want to He doesn't want to canonize himself out of a potential story beat because as much as he does abide by his rules, the story comes first.
Rule of awesome.
Yes.
Yep. Great. On this next one, so many Scadrial things. Aluminum is eventually going to become more cheap to produce. Is everyone just going to have resistance to? Brandon, that is definitely something that's going to affect the future, but do also remember that as the powers become more accessible to people who weren't born with them, you have both more resistance to them and more widespread use of them, which is going to change how things act out. Mechanical usage of the metallic arts. More people are resistant, but it's also easier to use. Whereas now, you don't really need that much aluminum to like defend yourself because there's not that many Allomancers.
Right. There's just not that many threats.
Oh, okay.
But, like if you can buy it on the streets and like, hey, now I'm a soother, right?
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I was really confused then. I'm sitting there and I'm like, what does this question mean by is everybody just going to be have resistance to? And I thought like he's implying, are people going to be resistant to aluminium?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you? But then he means
No. Resistance to aluminium.
He's asking if when aluminium becomes more cheap to produce, can everyone just buy a tinfoil suit and underoos? Just
stop being so British.
Yeah.
The only reason we brought Ben is because there's aluminum questions in here.
Yeah. I try every time you guys say aluminum, I'm like, say aluminium. Say it. Just try and fit it in a sentence somewhere.
Yep.
Why don't you take us back to the only world that matters, Ian?
Yeah. So this next questioner
Enough of Scadrial.
asked about Terra's dad. Terra is Kelsier's ex-girlfriend.
Oh, Kelsier's
really?
Oh, God.
Wow. I thought
you didn't world hop.
No, Tara's the world hopper now, guys.
Well, no, so Terra could have world hopped to Scadrial.
Guy, I think Tara's a dragon.
That's why she left Kaladin to go to.
This whole story about a safe job in like a mansion somewhere. No.
Okay.
No, it
so
was Renault's mansion.
was Kaladin's ex-girlfriend.
There we go.
Okay.
And this question is just about her dad. Have we seen him on screen? Do we know his name? To watch Brandon Raffos both.
Yeah, because it's Kelsier.
Terra World Hopper confirmed.
He's her daddy.
Confirmed. Oh, those are mutually exclusive events. Terra is not Kelsier's lover, and moving on.
I don't think you understand.
Moving on.
Next question. Can every cognitive shadow be affected by silver? Asks an unknown questioner. Raffo, good question, says Brandon.
I mean, silver affecting the shades is weird. So yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And obviously would be Raffoed, but yeah.
It would. Cool. Yeah, it'd be cool to know that.
Good question, though. Brandon says so.
Yeah.
Because then it would make that silver chain in that place in Cognitive
Silvery
Realm.
metal.
Sorry,
chain.
silvery metal chain. Making it being silver would make more sense if it warded off all cognitive shadows.
Which
didn't we think
that seems dumb.
Didn't we have a thing about it being Dragonsteel, or was that just
we had a theory that it was
There's
Dragonsteel?
theories that it could be a few things.
Yeah. It's
well, okay,
but I think silver doing things to shades is more a function of the weirdness of shades and how they're like
maybe.
ghosts in the physical realm.
Sure.
I don't think it would like stabbing a returned with a silver knife would do much.
Other than, just being stabbed.
Yeah, like
I mean, the shades are weird, but silver, it's also a pretty arbitrary metal.
Yeah.
So, Raffo, good question.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Next word of Brandon.
Next, Brandon.
Can a returned be made from Stormlight? To which Brandon said, how would you count the Heralds? The question says, I haven't read much, so I don't really know what you're talking about. Great one, questioner.
Let us tell you about it, dear questioner.
So, Brandon then replies, in the Stormlight books, there is a set of people who are constantly reborn into full-sized, grown bodies that are being created for them. Would you recount that as being returned, or do you count returned? What's your definition, right? You can create something that is returned-like, but your definition of what a returned is and what it is not is going to be involved in that. So, the most important bit about this is that the Heralds are reborn into bodies that are created for them.
Yeah.
Which...
The important part is not what the questioner was asking at all.
Although I would like us to talk about that, because that's also an interesting thing to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's phrased a little weird. But yeah, so we were wondering when we were talking about the Heralds, like, wait, they're cognitive shadows? How do they have bodies then?
Yes.
What? That doesn't make sense, but no, they're apparently like literally new bodies are being created for them.
There was a long time where people thought that potentially they possessed human bodies of people that currently existed, and then that was only strengthened when we found out the fused come back by possessing bodies on Roshar.
Yeah,
but
they
then
look very specific.
Yeah, they also but then this completely kills any potential theories that the Heralds possess people. The Heralds get their own bodies back.
For the record, I was a big proponent of the possession theory.
Same. Yeah, I think that was one of the things we really agreed on.
Doesn't this mean that to get back to Braze, they then, at the end of a desolation, they just have to die?
Yes.
Well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Like, they're all heralds. Like, they have transportation.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
yeah, two of them can switch over. Oh, yeah.
No, sorry. No, that was stupid what I said.
Okay.
Because it's just if you die, then they will make a new body for you, and they probably had bodies on Braze for their hide and seek game.
probably.
God, I hate that.
Or they might not have done it because Braze is not really hospitable to humanoid life.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we got that. So let's talk about, can a return be made from Stormlight? This I wouldn't freight.
So, returned, right? They are... What are the components there? There's a physical body, there is a cognitive shadow, and there is a divine breath, which is a bunch of investiture that sticks the two together.
Yeah.
Correct.
Going off this definition alone, there is no reason why you wouldn't be able to use Stormlight, right? It's just...
a large amount of Stormlight to replace the divine breath sort of thing.
Now, the only component that's missing here is the intent.
Yeah.
Or the coloration or the flavor of investiture. And the fact that endowment's investiture is, well, endowing. It is there to give things such as life back. Where honors might not be as good.
Honors is an kind of an oath to bring them back.
Yeah. I would assume that given enough power that you could definitely do that. But I think endowment would be easier to work with there, of course, which is what happens.
Possibly.
And as we see, probably with Kelsier, the hemotric spikes act like the divine breath, the glue, keeping him in the body.
Oh, yeah, as a glue.
Didn't we
have
that's
an interesting idea.
Question just along those lines about Kelsier specifically? There's an impression in my head, because I thought about this exact thing, and there's an impression in my head that there was a WoB that said, no, that's not what's happening there.
I don't remember it.
I don't know.
It's possible.
Okay, I'm not gonna do research onto this right now, but I'll take a look and maybe I'll leave a comment on the podcast when it comes out or something.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. This next question is, of course, you gotta go back to the classics. You gotta ask about Nightblood and assigning, and you gotta ask, was the Black Sphere that Gavilar gave to Eshonai, did it contain the same thing he gave to Zeth? Brandon. Yes, a question I can answer about the Black Sphere. Questioner, the same contents? Brandon, yes.
Coincidentally, Brandon's first response was also our collective response. Yes, a question
you can answer about the Black Sphere. Yeah. So the same thing's in there, so not an unmade, right?
Unless he's got a couple of unmades in his pockets.
But it would just not be
one
the
unmade
same
split into a few.
Unmade.
It wouldn't be the same thing. That's
one
right.
Unmade, split up into pieces.
But it wouldn't be the same thing because it would be different pieces of an unmade.
Yeah,
it's like a left hand and a right hand are different things.
Right, look here. Right.
Strongly debatable.
Listen it. Right.
This being said, I continue to support the idea that it is now just Void Spren.
Or Void Spren.
Void Light.
Or Void Light.
Void Light.
Void Light.
That could be a Void Spren in there.
Void Light is more in line with his response here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in camp, not an unmade. No unmade.
Yeah, no, reading this, Void Light makes the most sense, especially with the clarification that, same contents, yes. Yeah. Not
but I mean,
same kind of content. Like,
I don't know how specific Brandon would be there, but you're right.
I think there is room for interpretation. I think it could be just two Void Spren of the same type. I also think that this response suggests a little more that is just the same thing, and so is Void Light.
Yeah.
It's not the same level as counter evidence as the Heralds question from above.
Yeah. I'm just thinking. So, Brandon, we had the reveal of Void Light in Oathbringer. We know what Void Light is. Why would Brandon still be, not just out of the books, but in the book, still keeping the contents of the Black Sphere a mystery?
But
then I'm thinking, But then, and I'm also thinking that he thought it was going to be really obvious what was in the Black Sphere after Oathbringer, so that kind of doesn't apply. So I'm like...
Brandon likes trolling us.
Yeah.
For the record, there would be no opportunity in the books for anybody to make that realization, because we only ever see those in the prologue, which is before we learn what Voidlight is.
Like, literally...
Maybe we'll get it in Zeth's book, though.
I was going to say, like...
It could be a thing.
Literally, our only opportunity would have been Zeth being like, oh man, those crazy magic Parshendi are glowing, sure, like that Black Sphere that Gavilar gave me 6 years ago that I hid
somewhere safe.
In like
which
under a rock.
is awfully natural. That's natural dialogue.
Yeah, that's definitely,
Yeah.
No, just, guys, book 5, prologue.
Don't wait till book 5.
Gavilar's like, let me go to my Voidlight.
Let me go to buy to Mishram, who's actually still under Kolinar, and get some Voidlight.
She's like,
from her.
Here's another sphere. Give this to another random person.
Thanks. It's a good thing you're not splitting yourself up into different pieces into Black Spheres. That would be ridiculous. That's future dialogue. Easy.
Yeah.
Quality.
Great. Speaking of prologues, let's go to this next one.
Yep. And so this questioner asks about, in the prologue of the first book, it's mentioned that the head of Gavilar's bodyguard is one of the greatest swordsmen in the realm. And then we get Words of Radiance, which emphasizes so much on duels, but that guy's never mentioned. And basically asking, like, did Seth kill him during the assassination? And Brennan's like, a conscious decision on my part. I'm going to raffle it, but not for any good reason. Just a little reason. I might make reference to it. I might not. Which, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brandon.
Oh, when I read this, all I could think back was, have you guys read the Game of Thrones books?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how much in it do, like, the best swordsmen in the realm factor in, like, of the house? And I'm like, it comes into it a lot, and I'm like, oh yeah, we've just never really had stuff like that. Like, Gavilar,
considering
the best...
how much colon crap that we've had, like, geez.
Yeah, we never get...
You think that would come up at some point.
Yeah. Maybe he's just dead. Like, he might have just died of old age.
We'll find out, or we won't.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
We'll find out, or we won't.
Why don't we...
That sums up all these questions. We'll find out, or we won't.
Welcome to the new 15-second format of Shardcast.
We'll find out, or we won't. Black Sphere, whatever.
We all die in the end, so what does it matter?
Cool.
All right, let's move away from Roshar and into Roshar. Question.
Shocking. Get it? Tasercast.
Hey.
Hey.
Neogun. Something. Question about the noises Spren make in the physical realm, specifically Pattern, because Pattern doesn't have vocal cords. How does it make noise? And the short answer is he does. Like, it's not just a projection in people's minds. He actually vibrates the air, and those vibrations hit people's eardrums. Like, he makes actual noise.
Yep.
Good to know.
Yeah.
How does that work with Syl? Because Syl can hide from people. Like, would you still be able to record her voice?
Good question.
If she's in the mode
when she's invisible?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, if she has not appeared to you, so you can't hear her, could you still record her voice?
I'm going to say no, because I'm going to say when she's not visible, there's probably a bit of, like, cognitive or spiritual thing happening where she's talking to you through those. Like, there is a distinction between, the way that Pattern and Syl manifest, so there's probably... you can always just write stuff up as spiritual mumbo-jumbo.
But, like, Brandon explicitly says you could record the vibrations that Pattern and Syl.
Yeah.
But Syl does, like, there are moments when Syl appears to more people than just Kaladin. And you can hear her, and you can then, according to this, obviously record her. Whereas if she retracts... Like, I can't, maybe you guys can, but I can't think of a moment where she is visible to and detectable to some people, like, to more than just Kaladin, but not to everyone in the area.
Well, there's a scene in Words of Radiance where it's like, she's visible to Kaladin, Rock, and, like, Teft, and, like, she specifically reveals herself to Sigzil.
In the chasms?
in the chasms.
And that's what you're thinking.
What I'm thinking is that whatever is stopping the people who she's made herself invisible to, whatever is stopping them from seeing or hearing her, probably also applies to a recording device.
That's an interesting point.
I will concede that it's an interesting point to clarify.
Yeah,
cool.
For sure. Cool.
Just because, like, pattern is always visible, whereas Syl has much more control over that.
Yeah.
In the extremes, I think it is clear that in one case, she is only a voice in Kaladin's head. In the other end, she is an actual voice speaking to people. Yeah. What happens in the middle? Good question.
Interesting.
Yeah, because, like, obviously when she's a sword or a spear, like, it's telepathy.
It's talking into...
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, specifically into the mind of the Radiant.
Yep. Cool.
So this next one's from Warlen, who's on our Discord. Hey, Warlen.
Yep. Hi
again.
Can a Feruchemist tell whose metal mind it is when it is not their own based on the identity? Brandon says that is theoretically possible, but they just can't tell just like a rule. It's not automatic.
Which, interestingly enough, this exact question was asked twice at this event.
Really?
Yes.
But, I mean, they can tell that it's invested, but you'd have to go through some extra hoops to determine who it was, right?
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense.
I think that's just...
like, it's possible.
Yeah,
So
that's really interesting to me that it is possible. Like, I wouldn't have thought anything in Feruchemy would tell you whose identity you're looking at. Like, telling you that it's someone else's.
It doesn't have to be Feruchemy that allows you to distinguish, to identify the exact identity.
But, like, the question is, can a Feruchemist tell?
Yeah.
Well, sure, if they acquire this magic system.
That's against the spirit of the question.
They put it in their identity detector machine from Era 4.
I am glad Brandon always follows the spirit of the questions and is never
I think Ian doesn't have he does have a point.
What is interesting to me here is whether a feruchemist, just plain old vanilla feruchemist, can take two metal minds that are not their own and go, these belong to the same person, these belong to different people.
Ooh, yes, that'd be really interesting to find out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do they kind of have a pulse to them, kind of like bronze burning?
So,
well, it's not really like a pulse. You just have like this intuitive sense, that, like, about it, that you can use the metal mind or you can't.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works. But yeah, no, that's interesting.
It's a good question to add to your list.
Yep. This next one. Would a person holding a large amount of breaths be less influenced by emotional allomancy? Brandon, yes. That's book signing canon on that one, if you understand that phrase. Brandon, you just started using
just started using this phrase.
No, that's not even the phrase he just started using. He started using Word of Brandon canon. This is like completely evolved.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean,
you could even say it's the Arcanon.
Not yet.
Hey, I like that. I like that.
I caught up.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like that. I like it.
We're gonna start tagging things now.
Absolutely.
Our canon.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Next one.
Okay. So this is a very interesting question to me.
Is it?
Yes.
I wouldn't know any.
Ian's a crazy person, so.
Well, obviously, like, I'm the only person on this podcast that knows who the Berenstain Bears are.
I've been telling you that I'm with you since, like, the first 14 times you brought them up.
No.
Okay.
All right, let's read the question.
Okay, so in the cognitive realm, would they be the Berenstain Bear or Berenstain Bears? To which Brennan replies, excellent question. The Mandela effect in the cognitive realm depends on if the authors are still alive, will influence it. But the way the Cosmere works, I'm going to go with the way most people say it. So Berenstain Bears, probably. That would override.
Oh, this is like GIF and GIF.
Not really. Because
the creator feels one way.
No.
Like, no.
Pronunciation?
No.
I don't know what this
Okay, so
you
let me explain.
You don't need to know. Don't worry about it. It's crazy people think that the dimension hoppers exist.
Okay, let me explain. Okay, so there is a series of children's books called The Berenstain Bears. And it's, if you look it up on the books, it's called, written out, Berenstain Bears. There's a significant portion of the population that remembers it being Berenstain Bears, myself included. And so there's this theory that like people jumped realities, like shifted timelines. That part's really weird. But it's called the Mandela effect because there's a significant portion of the population that remembers Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 90s, which didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, how does Nelson Mandela get involved in this, into the Bears?
There's also the movie Interview with a Vampire, which isn't called Interview with a Vampire, it's called Interview with the Vampire. That's another example of people
and it's just
jumping
like,
dimensions.
I think that's just an example of English being dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's dealing with this, what's actually real. I vividly remember it being the Berenstain Bears. And, like, on the books, being spelled Berenstain Bears.
Okay,
but
sure,
that's
but
not...
human memory is an extremely fickle thing.
Yes,
yeah, I don't remember these children's stories at all, so I don't know.
But
like there are plenty of like, that's why eyewitness testimony is such garbage.
Yeah. Because they're like, oh yeah, I totally saw that person there. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it being like
That's very
so widespread.
Yeah.
Like half the population at that point, is human memory that bad?
Yeah. So it's interesting that this would affect things in the cognitive realm if enough people were wrong about something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know there are certain people in the fandom that, perception isn't that important to certain things, whereas like, yes, perception is always important.
I think most of us would argue that it's a
reasonably important.
critical pillar of how the invested arts work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
Great. Let's talk about wrenches and hammers now.
Great. I'm sick of talking about bears.
Somebody asks Brandon whether a wrench that is constantly used to hit things would consider itself to be a hammer.
Also fits within the cognitive realm, how things see
Right?
itself, so that's great.
It's like we planned this. We didn't, but it's like we did.
No.
What is real? Nobody knows.
It could just be the same questioner.
Or that, I mean.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
Like,
if you want to rain on my parade, okay.
yeah, I will, happily, all the day, every day.
Okay, Storm Puppy.
What? Storm Puppy.
Wrenches and hammers.
Yes.
And hitting things with them. One, don't do it, kids. But two, Brandon says, I'm not sure if I would phrase hammer, but yes. And then goes on a short explanation that when there's a linguistic barrier here. When objects say, I am this thing, there's a lot more that's being conveyed in these words than just the word itself. So when the stick says, I'm a stick, it's a lot more than just that. There's the whole identity being conveyed in that sentence. Mm-hmm. And so that wrench that's being used to hit people on the head, it's probably not going to see itself as a hammer. It's going to see itself as a wrench that's being used to hit people.
Yeah.
I would phrase things slightly different than you. It's something that's fundamentally nonverbal being interpreted by a person's brain as speech.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So it's like trying to convert like this concept of stick. Our brain just says stick.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So the next one, Green Rover asks, can you soulcast things like plastic using the oil essence? Brennan says,
No. Things into plastic.
Sorry, can you soulcast things into plastic? Like from the oil essence? Brennan says, yes, you could. You could soulcast things to plastic. You'd need to work with the magic, but you could.
Which makes sense. You should be able to soulcast anything except like god metals and stuff.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Right.
Just remember, if you do that, remember to soulcast the things back from plastic into something recyclable, because we have a problem.
Yes.
I mean, you could soulcast the plastic into wood, and that would be
that's what I'm saying. Just soulcast back.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of just someone going around trolling everyone by soulcasting everything into aluminium, and then it can't be soulcast back. And he's like, I'm just going to everything into aluminium.
That would probably take more power than it's worth it, but for the few times that you do that, it's quality.
It's a great prank, like in the Radiant frat house to soulcast your entire buddy's room to aluminium.
I feel like both the Else Scholars and Lightweavers do not organize themselves like a college frat party.
You say this, but what are Radiant Orders if not frat houses? Come on, think about it.
A lot of other things. Moving on!
I expect that there's at least one Radiant Order that is basically a frat house.
Yeah. The Pondsmiths, of course.
No, now I'm wondering. Because
we're moving on.
Okay, fine.
Green Rover asks, during the storm that Kaladin was in Shallan.
In with Shallan.
Let's
Yeah,
see
he was in with Shallan in book 2.
During the storm that Kaladin was in with Shallan in book 2, those 2 massive walkers we saw, are those Parshendi, Unmade, or Spren? Brandon, Spren, with the caveat that might not mean they aren't unmade, because that's not an either or.
Because unmade are Spren.
Right. This is very interesting.
This is good information.
Because these Stormwalkers...
Stormstriders.
I think this chapter was titled Stormriders.
Stormstriders.
Stormstriders.
I coined that term.
Nice.
Wasn't it the title of the chapter?
Nope. That is a fan term.
Really?
Yep. Because they're always described as striding, so we call them Stormstriders.
Okay.
I've gone back like 4 times to verify.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll trust you then.
So,
but we really have learned nothing about them since.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's nice to know they're Spren. That is literally the first time we've had any information on them. They are definitely Spren.
And we saw them in one of the Oathbringer flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They've been in
Dalinar.
Where Dalinar's like, hey, my knife's missing. I'm going to go walk into the high
Oh,
store.
really?
Yeah.
And then he sees one of those things and gives him the bird.
Yep.
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 I completely forgot about that.
Because young Dalinar is totally a frat boy.
Yeah.
He is. Yes.
Yeah.
He's a frat house.
House Colin in that time.
Yeah.
Definitely a frat house. For sure.
That is true.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know more about these because this is like some weird foreshadowing crap that...
Yeah.
Like, think how little the Stormfather mattered in book 1 and then how much the Stormfather matters now. Like, let's be real here.
And this is...
Those things could matter a lot.
And they are even less prominent. A lot less prominent. Like, Stormfather is at least part of the culture and the language of these.
Yeah, right.
And these are like... Kaladin sees one of them. Dalinar sees one of them.
2 of them.
Sure.
Kaladin sees 2.
Yes. And neither of them think anything of this.
Yes,
Like,
they don't. They're not like,
storms are weird.
Yeah. Like, the thing is that because of the way that they described as well, we don't even know how many legs they have. They're just described as having legs. But then
Spindly.
it's and it's worded so strangely where it's like, are they like giant? Because I think one of the theories we had during Way of Kings was that they were what Chasm Fiends pupate into, as they pupate into giant Stormspren. It was just, we have no idea what they are. The questioner said that, we see 2 of them, but we don't know how many they are because every time someone talks about a storm, they say they can see giant shapes moving in the storm. And it's like, is it just the entire Stormfront is just covered by these massive, huge Spren? Like,
I also feel like that the 2 Spren, like the 2 things that Kaladin sees are described differently. Like that they look different from each other.
I think so as well.
From each other? Or
from each other.
Okay.
Man. This is super weird.
They are one of the things I want to know the most about. I'm like, every so often I remember they exist, and I'm like, why don't we know anything about them?
This is like a frickin' Cosmere mystery. Like, what the crap are these? Like,
so, next questioner asks, is Kaladin related to Aesudan? Brandon.
I'm sorry,
yes.
Aesudan.
Thanks, Ben.
No worries.
10 out of 10. I'm doubling your pay.
Yes, but it's not a close relation. A very complex system of things, but yes. Questioner, I was just wondering why he would recognize the melody she was humming. Brandon, that is not because they are related. I thought that was a sideways question about Kaladin's mom. Questioner,
Brandon's on to us.
I thought maybe she hummed that song. Brandon, no. Good question.
Yeah, that's one of those
a common song.
Things in Oathbringer that I kind of flagged as I was reading the thing the first time. I flagged as I reread the book, and I still have no idea where Brandon was going with it.
Yeah, unless maybe it has to do with the rhythms and like just intrinsically recognizing that in some way. That's just something that popped in my brain 30 seconds ago. I don't.
At this point in Stormlight Archive, anytime a tune or a rhythm or a beat is mentioned, I'm assuming it's got something to do with rhythms, capital R. Like, every time. Like, at this point, I'm convinced that pattern hums to rhythms. I'm convinced that, like, the thrill thrums in people to the rhythms. Just everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, yeah.
With both of those things.
Yeah, all those things. Like, and then, yeah, she's probably humming to a rhythm, and Kaladin's probably heard that before at some point, because someone else hummed it at some point.
Yeah. Or it's, like, not even that he's ever heard it before, but, like, his soul recognizes that.
Yeah. Because it's part of the cosmic rhythms. Yeah.
I don't remember this at all. Cool.
It's
to give you the
specifically
15-second rundown, when Kaladin and Elkar are going to Aesudan's room to find little Gavilar, Kaladin hears Aesudan hum like a nurse. In my head, it's like a nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
And he goes, that sounds familiar. I wonder where And then the action happens.
Oh, he wonders where
he's heard it before.
He's heard it before?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird.
Yep. And it's because of this, like, Brandon drawing attention to this rhythm that some people have
makes
to
weird.
it.
I was going to say...
Cosmere Mystery!
I might need to search this.
Song.
I might be completely wrong about
Is
this,
it
but then when we see her walking down the stairs in her full, like, evilness, she's, like, humming it even more intensely, if I remember correctly.
I think she's, like, full on singing it at that
That
point.
I don't remember.
I don't...
I think she was just, hey, why are you running away?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But again, that Kaladin and Aesudan, I'm fine, Aesudan, whatever. They're related. This is further evidence that Kaladin's one of his maternal grandparents wasn't Dark Eyes, so...
Next question. Can Odium sense where the Underblades are? Let's raffle that one, says Brandon.
Which is, I think, an important question.
Yeah.
Why do you say that, Eric?
Because they sound like important things that Odium wants.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
they allow access to surges for everyone, and Syl's like, yo, you need to grab that honor blade, because that's real important, right? Like, these are important objects. They're part of Honor's soul itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're important.
They're gonna be, funky things going on with them.
It is interesting that they gave one of them to Moash. Sorry, to Vyre.
Yep. Uh-huh.
I'm not necessarily going anywhere with that. It's just, hey, one of those super limited edition, collector's edition weapons.
Fragments of Honor's soul.
Right. We just gave one of those to this human
guy.
that has proved himself by killing Yezrian.
That's true.
It is.
But I mean, he didn't need to work that hard.
Yeah.
Wasn't just stabbed him.
Like it was
What order was Yezrian the leader of?
Windrunners.
Okay. Who was Kalak again?
Will Shapers.
Okay, cool.
So it's like they literally gave the murder of Yezrian's Shardblade. Which, interestingly enough, is that more important than we're thinking of? Like,
is that symbolically important?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With, like, salvage rights or something. Like, because you killed the Herald, like, you have a claim on that sword.
Because the Fused are pretty on it with they're pretty on it with their, hey, you get this because it's yours.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
That is an interesting question, but if anything, I would have gone the other way. I would have said, hey, is he now bound a little bit in the Oath Pact in some way?
I don't view those things.
I mean,
like,
Zeth
no.
wasn't, so.
Yeah.
Zeth wasn't, but Yezrian was also alive at that point.
Yeah. I swear to God, if Mursh is now a Herald, I'm not gonna be very happy.
No, I'm not going that far. I'm not going that far.
Okay.
But I wonder if, I don't know, the other Heralds can sense him. Things like that.
I'm very interested to see what's gonna happen with Moash in book 4, because I'm like, man, there's so many. What will happen? I have no idea. You know, like what? Sorry, Vyre. Great.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay, so the next WoB, Ashara says, does a person have to die before they can become a cognitive shadow? Which Brendan says, yes, depending on your definition of dying. Ashara says, the physical body dies, and Brendan says, yes. So you have physical body has to die to become a cognitive shadow.
That makes sense.
Yep. So an interesting takeaway here is that you can't kind of go comatose and like do an astral. Well, I mean, there are cases where you can do astral projection type of thing, but you can't like split your cognitive aspect away and like go and possess Spook's body or something.
Yeah, you can't pull a Harry Dresden because that is totally something that happened in one of the Dresden books.
Sure.
I feel like that was very early on.
Okay, because
that's probably why I don't remember it.
Because I don't want us to spoil.
I cannot believe you just spoiled the Dresden Files books for me.
I feel like it was like the first within the first 5 or something.
That's fine.
People get sensitive to spoilers from other series. Yeah, right. Then Arshara asks, is a cognitive shadow a copy of the cognitive or spiritual aspect? Brandon. So this is a matter of some debate in the Cosmere. Philosophical questions. By definition, you have to be ripped out of the body and persist. That's part of the definition.
Which doesn't necessarily answer the question.
Brandon?
No, that definitely does not at all.
Yeah.
So I think what Brandon did here was he assumed she was going for, hey, is the cognitive shadow a copy or is it the actual aspect persisting?
Yeah.
Whereas I think she was going for, hey, you've referred to you refer to cognitive shadows as copies of the mind, but also copies of the soul, and the soul is spiritual.
Yeah, I think she was trying to get between cognitive or spiritual rather than the copy business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe we just need to ask this again more explicitly.
Yeah, he was hung up on the copy part.
Yeah, right. Right.
Not the cognitive spiritual aspect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I just remembered it is the third Dresden Files book, so we're good.
Great.
I can't believe you spoiled the third Dresden Files book for me.
It's like the recommendation is to start at like book 5, so it doesn't really matter.
It's a bad recommendation.
Yes, it is.
I think 6 is a good start.
I think 1 is a good start. Whose turn is
it? But I go book 2 because I bounced off of book 1 and it's like
I didn't really like book 2. Anyway, moving on.
So, Arshara asks, has Braze always been 9-centric, or did it become so because of Odium? Brandon Raffo.
I am always uncomfortable with the emphasis that Brandon puts on natural numbers, let's say. Let's just natural numbers.
Okay. Has not this always been eye-centric?
Well, I think it's
like
because humans are very natural number centric, and so their perception makes that important into Cosmere.
It's an easy cop out in a lot of the Cosmere things.
That's stupid. Moving on.
Let's move on. Moving on to a different prominent member of the community, Sparkle Hearts, who's been going to a million events.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
It's just like, and back in time too.
We'll see her on every single Skyward signing somehow.
Yeah. I mean, she said she was gonna dial it down, but she's not. It's okay. Asks, are we going to get a story about what happened to Vivenna between Warbreaker and Oathbringer? Whether I will write that as a story or not, I'm not sure, says Brandon, but it will come out. So it might show up as a word of Brandon, it might show up as like a blog post or a short online essay or something, or like an email.
Or we'll just hear, we could just hear about it secondhand rather than being in Vivenna's viewpoint and reading that story.
Or it could be part of Warbreaker's secret history.
Yeah.
Which Brandon has mentioned explicitly in those words.
Just
really? Yes.
Sometimes I want Brandon to drop a lot of, not all the projects, but a lot of project and just feed me secret histories.
I mean, that's true. Still, Secret History 1 was just like one of the craziest things ever. Like, hell yes.
I mean,
what are you hiding, Brandon? Tell me.
Mish was asking about our favorite books, and it's like Stormlights and Secret History. That's
Mm-hmm.
See, we've had a year of like no Cosmere. One day I just want a year of nothing but Cosmere. That'd be nice.
Cool.
So for the next WoB, we get Steel Dancer asking about Amaram's kind of sudden turn in Oathbringer, where Brandon kind of talks about how Amaran's fall was slow and a steady descent, but because we just didn't get any viewpoints of Amaran because there was already too many viewpoints in Oathbringer, he couldn't really show it. And he also said that the Kaladin thing was like the worse than anything he did in Oathbringer. So yeah. He wished he could have included it, but there was just too many characters and he couldn't include it.
Yeah, Amaram was kind of
A bit sudden.
a very much a side thing. It's just like, hey, let's have that fight. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot like in Wheel of Time, in the last book, there is a deleted sequence from the point of view of a major antagonist.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought you were about to spoil it. I was going to be like, stop spoiling other books!
Yeah, it's called River of Souls. It's in the Unfettered Anthology. But it was ultimately cut because it was very long and it didn't necessarily fit the book.
Right.
But that just reminded me very much of this.
Sure. No,
Amaram, secret history.
Please. No, I don't think I've gone on the record saying this, but I've always liked Amaram.
As a
you are off
antagonist?
the podcast.
I know, like, literally everyone in the world hates him. I'm like,
in what way do you like him?
Go away, man.
Do you need to be on the Cosmere Bays podcast and talk about how you like Amaram?
So I don't like him as like I understand he's a villain, but I think he's a better villain than people give him credit for. Like, a lot of people hate him immediately just for what he did to Kaladin, and a part of me, I was gonna say a big part of me, but that's dangerous. A part of me understands why he did that.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I can easily see a situation where he goes, hey, I know the end of the world is coming. I know we need to be ready for. There are these shard blades here. There's the shards. I can give him to this random bridge man who's going to do whatever, and he's Dark Eyes. Or I, who is a warrior and a general of many years, can just take them and use them to save the world.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons that people hate him the most, is because he kind of speaks that inner fear of like, would I do the same thing in that situation? Because I'm with you. I completely understand why he did what he did. And
that's what makes it
and that's what makes it horrible.
Murdered Kaladin on the spot.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even give him the satisfaction of like, I wouldn't even give him, I'll just enslave you and kill your friends. I would have killed Kaladin as well. I probably would have killed all the people in the room as well with my brand new shardblade. Like,
I would like to point out that I think the fact that you understand where Amaram was coming from in Way of Kings makes it so that in Oathbringer you don't understand where he is right now, that makes it less good.
Yeah.
It's like, in that Odium's change.
When he talked about like how his army, because like as soon as the Dalinar's resolution to the situation of, I know, in order to get rid of the problem of the Sadeas army, I'm just gonna ship him off to some random city on the other side of the world, so no problem. I'm like, no, that's gonna backfire, because if I was the army, I would not be very happy. So maybe the switch to Odium was a bit much, but I can understand why he really, really turned against Dalinar at that point.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Needs more.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So,
I wish there could have been more. Yeah.
In story terms, I think in Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, Amaram is an anti-villain. Like, he's doing the wrong thing, not because he wants to, but because he thinks he has to. Whereas, in Oathbringer, he transitions into being a villain, which is doing the wrong thing because he wants to. And we don't see the transition, so it's not satisfying.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, because I definitely thought that, he switched to Odium size. I'm like, okay. And then when he swallowed the sphere with, like Nara in it, and I'm like, that's I'm like, come on. Would you go that far?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. It didn't. Because you understood where he was coming from in book 1 and 2, right? Like you like everything he did made sense, and then it's like
Oathbringer,
and
just
kind
of
it didn't. Yep. Yeah. That's I did feel like that. I was like, it's really that far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's a big sphere.
Yeah. Like he preferred to like. Yeah.
Nope, not going to make the joke that I was going to make. All right, moving on. All right. Steel Dancer also asks, given a situation where they have perfect knowledge of hemalurgy, everything's known, is it possible they could shard scalpel and spike to carefully to excise without killing someone? Brand says, the real damage is to the soul. Steel, I'm imagining taking out toxic sort of things. Brandon, you've seen Vasher do something similar, so it's not off the books that that's possible.
So before we talk about what Vasher did, which is, I think, the real gem in this word of Brandon,
Yes.
I think what Steel is asking here is, hey, with perfect knowledge and power, can you take away somebody's, let's say, pettiness or greed?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I read as toxic sort of things. That's my take.
I view it as like psychic trauma.
Oh, that
If you go through like something like incredibly traumatic, could you like excise like that damage from?
Which is the thing that Vasher did.
So I think that's what Brandon understood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
think the question though was about more.
I think both interpretations lead to very much the same way. Hey, can you take away very specific bits of somebody with hemalurgy?
With hemalurgy without killing the person. Yeah.
Which
And
we've known it's
then-
possible not to kill them, but before.
And then the bombshell of that's kind of what Vasher did.
Yeah, but if you think about it from Ian's perspective, then it's super obvious and not that interesting. Because Vasher did do that. He did excise that bad memory from that girl.
Yeah.
Technically,
I guess
he had the girl excise it from her memory herself, but that's semantics.
Oh, okay.
Technically.
Yeah, right. Welcome to Semanticast. Yeah. But yes, thank you. You're right. You are correct. So in that case, then I think that's exactly what that means then. So cool.
Okay, so this next one is asked by Steel Dancer,
I love the way this is worded.
and I like Steel Dancer. I would just like to personally thank you for the way you phrased this question because I find it hilarious. So, if Kaladin created a kid, well, he had not summoned Syl in a while, then he made another kid right after he summoned Syl, would they have different colored eyes? Brandon, wow, I'll raffle that for now.
That is such an LDS way to phrase this.
Yes, it
It is
is.
amazing. Holy crap.
It's like,
Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just amusing.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I would have said like sired a kid, but like created a kid is just
It's like
you don't usually use
I wouldn't
those
describe
words.
that action as that, but yeah,
it's not-
sure. yeah.
let me just get my kid creation kit out,
Yeah. Yeah.
And lo, a kid was created.
That's right.
He's like, I've
Oh, hey.
gone and made
and-
another one now.
So if we stop making fun of Steel for a moment,
Okay,
as much as
Yeah,
it pains
that's
me to
hard
say
to do.
that.
We love you, Steel.
So that's a raffle. Obviously, this is going at whenever Kaladin summons Syl after the third oath, his lights go light.
His lights go light.
Yeah, I was saying that sentence, and at some point I was like, wait, I didn't say something right.
My light goes light for you.
When his eyes go eyes. When Kaladin's eyes go light.
Yes.
We've been doing
yes.
this for a while, so we're getting a little punchy, people.
Yeah.
And loopy.
Or
loopy.
Is that change just physical? Is his spiritual aspect being changed temporarily? Is his physical DNA being changed temporarily? Obviously, the answer is raffle, so we don't know.
Yeah. Well, we know that like
What do we think?
a lot of the light eyes on Roshar are a direct result of Radiance having kids. Not all of them, but like
Yeah.
Do we know that?
yes, we do. It's from a Chicago sighting. I don't think it was you though.
You just got Ian.
It's
This usually happens to me. So it's
specifically,
so
I think
gratifying.
it's the Chicago signing right after Firefight.
That's awfully specific.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that because that's
Shadows?
one of the signings I've spent the most time working on through various iterations of interview date archives.
Oh yeah, that was one of the first
yeah,
ones.
like-
That's right.
like,
The Shadows,
I've-
yeah.
Okay, that explains that then.
I've inputted that thing across like 3 different archives, and I originally transcribed it in the first place. So
The reason I thought Light Eyes were like the connection between Light Eyes and Radiance that I thought was there was, and I think this was even mentioned in Oathbringer, was that people were used to the Radiance being noble people of power and control, and so when they went away,
Right.
just people continued to associate light eyiness.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. It's a mimetic as well as genetic kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to quickly paraphrase it, asking about why Shalon's eyes didn't change color, and Brandon's because they were already light.
Yep, I remember that.
So it's not like Honor's. No, it is not. It is just kind of the way that the changes to Stormlight is making the body, and certain people are already descended from people who had repeated over time changes by the body, which stopped physically. That's not to say that's all. That's not to say that all light eyes, that's where they came from. There are some that are natural mutations.
Interesting.
What is interesting here is that I remember the natural mutations part as a part of a WoB.
Yeah.
It's just the line
didn't remember
before
the
is
other part.
gone from my memory. Like, Vasher showed up at my house and was like, "What up?"
Yeah. He told you how to excise that. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And this last one is great because it also tops off the hemalurgy stuff.
Yep. And he talks about teeth.
Well,
Yes.
and there is something interesting that I want to talk
Okay.
about with this.
So the question reads as, would it be possible to make hemorrhagic dental fillings if there were a mad scientist dentist? Which you say, like, there are any dentists that are not mad
Matt, yeah.
I
scientists.
don't mind going to the
I
dentist.
hate going to the dentist.
I just haven't gone to a dentist in too long, so I really need
Yeah,
to do that.
you really
so maybe I'll
I
feel
don't think.
maybe I'll feel differently soon.
You're like, hey, what can you do with this nugget of atium? And so Brandon says, I've thought about this. Of course you have, Brandon. I think that would be possible, but for hemalurgy to really work, I needed to... It doesn't actually have to be touching the blood, despite what they think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think your average dental filling is not going deep enough. Questioner exclaims, root canal! And Brandon just continues, but yeah, you could make that work.
I have always found that we have not talked about the connection between hemalurgy and blood nearly enough.
Yes.
Even though that's why it's called hemalurgy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The hema part, right? To evoke blood. Right?
I may have brought this in a previous podcast when I was reading annotation or old Time Wasters Guild archives, but wasn't
It
Brandon's...
was definitely called the Time Wasters Guild.
Time Waster's Guide.
Look, that was 10 years ago, okay?
That's true. It
Time
was.
Wasters Guide.
Yeah.
But it's, at some point, I think Brandon was asking, hey, how do these names sound for a magic system that deals with blood? And I think he was toying around with sangrimancy or sanguimancy or something along these lines.
Oh, wow.
As an early version of hemalurgy.
Yeah.
I think it was
Because-
sanguimancy.
Originally, hemalurgy was Furukami. Like, that's what Furukami was called.
Glad he changed
Yeah.
that one. But I don't know. We always forget the blood part of hemalurgy
Mhm.
being like an important aspect of
Yeah.
it. So I just
It's like,
I like
the
it.
blood
just
being
because
in
of
motion has to do with the spiritual realm or something.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
So I like this just because it reminds us that is an important component.
But not as important as we might have thought.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, this.
I think that maybe it's just a technicality and just like it'll probably work better if you do
Yeah.
touch the blood. Probably that's kind of how I'm taking that.
And there's obviously the, hey, submerging spikes in blood prevents decay.
Yeah. That's always been the big one
So
for
I
me.
totally forget about
That's-
that. I totally forget
Well,
about
because
that.
we only found out about that in Secret History, I think.
No, why?
It was mentioned there. We found out about it in Shadows of Self,
Really?
Maybe?
but it
I
was
thought it was
also-
Error 1 that we found that out.
No.
No. Wasn't in
And then
Faith's Mistborn
Secret History
trilogy,
came
for
out,
sure.
and Kelsier was like, hey, these Inquisitors are carrying spikes of blood.
Yeah, I remember now, yeah.
We even have a WoB in the past where somebody was like, hey, what if they do the spiking in a bloodbath? Would that theoretically transfer 100% of the trait onto the recipient of the spike?
Ooh.
Which I think no. I think the answer to that was no.
I think the answer is no, because there's still loss just innate to hemalurgy, but it would be less than if
spiking
they do
directly.
the terrifying thing with the table. Which,
Hemalurgy, it is.
Don't do hemalurgy, kids. Don't
do hemalurgy,
not awaken
kids. Go to
swords
school.
and don't do hemalurgy.
Go to school.
Hemalurgy makes you bald. Not really.
Makes you go blind.
Certain hemalurgies, yeah.
Okay, I have always really liked the idea of like medicinal hemalurgy.
I do too.
Like you get, especially with medallions coming in, you could get like a gold compounder, and you could just keep spiking stuff out of there, and you've just got a place to just continuously create hemalurgic spikes. And
were you the main proponent for the hospital with the gold compounders in Era 3 type thing?
Yeah, where you'd kind of like a little factory where you kind of spike stuff out of people, they grow it back, and you can make another spike out of it.
Point of order: goat compounders,
gold compounder.
You definitely said
I heard
gold.
Goat.
Yeah,
gold.
we definitely.
I heard goat compounders.
Well, that's
so I was
fancy that, Eric.
No.
You're fun with your goat compounders over there.
The goat compounders,
don't
the
understand how
mortal
that would
enemy of the Mistborn Llama.
No goats were
yes,
spiked
confirmed.
in the making of this podcast.
But yeah, because like medallions are nice, but if you could get like a permanent, I came up with the phrase hemalurgic implant, where you just go to the doctor and you're like, oh yeah, could I just get some like, I want some gold, and they're like, yeah, sure, and they just gets like a needle gun and just goes, and then just stick.
Could you say a nail gun?
Yeah, and it just like,
NALE.
like it just hits you in the arm with the old spike, and it just goes, yeah, cool. Now you got gold for Rukami.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Well, you can find all these words of Brandon at wob.coppermine.net on Arcanum. And, oh man, I know we've done a lot of Word of Brandon episodes, but
there are more on the horizon.
Skyward has a real tour, but we're probably not going to have those in November. They'll probably be December, January-ish. Yeah. And we're going to have to be super choosy, because I don't even know how we did the Oathbringer tour in 3 episodes. So great.
we've been
But we're much more practiced now. But yeah, so prepare yourselves for that. I know, I understand why some of you were like, I don't really like the Word of Brandon episodes, but I hope you found this interesting. I mean, there's certainly some interesting things and questions that we talk about on this podcast that were answered. So it's nice. So with that, it's time for Who's That Cosmere Character?
Who's that Cosmere Character?
Let's get to it. So welcome to Who's That Cosmic Character. This is the game where you, the listeners, send in 5 clues and a character to Who's That Cosmic Character at gmail.com. I will then read out those 5 clues, and the rest of these guys have to try and guess who the character is before we get to the 5th clue, and then if they can't get out the 5th clue, they all lose. So, character number 1, and clue number 1. This character is female.
Iale Sadius.
It is
one of these times.
It is not Eli Sadius.
Hasina.
It is not Hasina.
Didn't we do this before? Didn't we? I'm feeling deja vu here.
I'm getting flashbacks. Is it Syl?
It's not Syl. This was sent in by Bonnie Johnson as well. I always forget to say the name.
Thank you. Wow, you're so terrible at hosting. I am creator of this segment.
Clue number 2. This character is dead.
Evie.
It is not Evie.
No, that was the one that happened before.
Yeah, it was Evie previously.
We have those 2 clues. Is dead. Who?
Raoden's mom.
It is not Raoden's unnamed mom. Mom. Mum.
Mama.
Shallan's mom.
It is not Shallan's mum, who's also unnamed.
Yep.
This character is mentioned in Oathbringer.
Great. Aesidon.
It is not Aswaden.
It gets worse and worse.
No, he did this. He did this last time. I guess she's more than just mentioned.
Yeah.
I would consider her more than mentioned.
Technically, she was
Also
mentioned.
yeah.
Like, you know who else was mentioned in Oathbringer? Shalom.
Yeah.
Like, we also did see a lot of her, but she was indeed mentioned.
Dead female character mentioned.
Eshonai?
It is not
Ooh.
Eshonai, but that's a really good guess.
Oh, man, I thought Ian had that there. Oh, crap.
Hmm.
And this is a person who's definitely confirmed dead, right? Confirmed dead, not like hypothesized to be dead.
I think they're as confirmed as you can get as this as you can get.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Without because
I don't need it notarized, but you know.
I wonder if that's a trick question. Is it Lady Leshwi?
it is not Lady Leshwi, but that is also a good guess.
That's clever.
Okay, so clue number 4. This character was killed by Odium.
Oh wait, by Odium?
Killed by Odium.
Aeona?
It is not Aeona.
Ulida.
Oh, Ulada. I get it
I
first.
got it first because I finished before you did.
No,
is.
no, I got it first because I'm hearing your Skype after it, so I win because I'm recording. I'll check the timestamps when we record. Okay.
I was like, because to I ears, you said that at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So yes, it is Ulida, the Shard of Ambition.
Yes.
Yeah?
The Vessel of Ambition.
Vessel of Ambition, sorry. And the clue number 5 was this character's a Shard of Adonasium.
I couldn't remember her name, and so I went
Yeah.
for Aeona.
I was like, when you said Aeona, I was like, oh my god, you're like this close.
It's like, wait, what? I was like, not understanding. Personally killed by? Did Odium personally kill people in Oathbringer? But I'm like, oh, right. Shards, right?
Yeah,
got
definitely.
it.
Right, and then
Cool.
we got something different for our second
Yes.
character.
I will check. I will check who won and put it in the comments below.
Okay.
On that one.
Okay, if you say so.
I am giving the others a chance to
Yes.
catch up to my magnificence.
Oh,
Okay.
Ian,
and your humbleness.
I never claim to be humble, ever.
Yeah. So
Otherwise,
Ian has
block
come up with
person.
his own one. This one.
It's like my fatal flaw is hubris. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Hubris and vanity. Come on.
So the real shard that you'd actually pick up would be ambition.
No, because no.
Ambition could be hubris. That's in there.
There's a lot of other things that are ambition that I would not personally identify with. So, okay. So, I will be giving the clues for this one.
And I suck at who's that cosmic character, so this is going to be interesting.
Okay.
Ben, you cannot possibly be as bad as Josh. There's just no way.
As long as you don't
he's the worst.
Guess Hoyd in drag on a horse.
Or Bilbo.
Or Bilbo. The classic.
That was supposed to be a joke. Okay.
We will never let jokes slide. Welcome to Radiant Park, Vax, Dragons.
Clue number 1. This character is an antagonist.
Okay, so I'm straight away. My brain's going to Cell because it's Ian.
I'm gonna guess Zoo from the Emperor's Soul.
That's a very good guess. It's wrong, but it's a very good guess.
I'm gonna guess what's. God,
He was the striker in Emperor's Soul.
Ah, the striker, yes, of course,
Yeah.
obviously.
That kept on saying, "I'm going to kill you."
With
Yeah.
the one who does the striking. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That I totally thought was going to fall in love with this Shy when I first read that book. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. You did misread that one there. I would agree there.
Well, it's like, that's totally a trope that happens in books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I have referred to the evil minister dude in Elantris as Minister Frollo for so long, I've forgotten his actual name.
Minister Frollo?
From the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, from
Notre Dame,
Notre Dame.
not Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
It's great.
Are you talking
Frollo
about
is-
Hrathen?
I'm Horathan, that's his name. Yeah, he always reminded me. He basically almost burst into song when he was standing on top of the walls of Elantris.
Okay, is that your guess?
I don't know, because I feel like that would be way too obvious.
As
what if
as
it's
you
like
think.
Roshar? What if it's Roshar and it's not Cell at all?
Yeah.
That'll be the funny
Do you know
part.
what? I'm just going to say, Hrathen's my guess. Go on then.
It is not Hrathen.
I would like a clarification.
Okay.
We're clue one. Clue one?
Do you consider, with all the talk in the past 2 podcasts, do you consider anti-villains to be antagonists?
I would consider an anti-villain and an antagonist, yes.
Okay,
So this guy,
in
okay. Cool.
that case, Taravangian is my guess.
It is not Taravangian.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Clue number 2. This character is associated with money.
Oh, wait. Who's that guy in Shadows for Silence? The guy who attacked them? You know that guy? In that
I know
time?
every
that
guy.
guy?
I need
Say
a
the
name.
guy more intensely, and we'll
I
remember
barely
it.
remember Silence from Shadows for Silence.
Okay, so
No, we
have-
read a thing on
Yeah.
when we were talking about the weird things in the Cosmere. There's that guy
Yes,
who
owns,
took William Ann. Yeah,
He-
he had money, right?
the guy who
I
is
need a
all
name.
like, "Hey, Silence, give me money for your pub,"
Oh, that one.
and then
it started with a T, right? A T? Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but as you guys try to remember his name, I'm gonna guess Duke Tauraiai.
That is a very good guess that I was hoping someone would guess. That is wrong.
who's Duke Tel'Rai?
Yeah, Telri
Tel'Rai.
would be what normal people. That would be what normal people would say, Ben.
I
It's
I
not
assume
what
they're Selish.
Aerilish would say.
Yeah, well, I don't care about that
Okay.
because it doesn't matter. You don't even say Kelsier, which is what they've taken.
Isn't there?
I'm
Ah.
a hypocrite. I don't care.
Aesidon,
Is there someone
Elantris,
in Era 2,
Serene.
Mistborn who is like a banker? Maybe.
Yes, there is a character in Era 2 that is a banker who is very important.
My guess is that guy in Shadows for Silence.
I'm not going to accept that. I need a name.
A man needs a name.
Well, I'm gonna give myself a half point if that's right. So there. I don't remember that name. I'm sorry.
Can you describe him?
Yeah,
To
if you give me
Ian's-
some
Yes, it
more
wa-
about that character.
He turns up
It was
in like
the person
the second-
in the forest, and they attack. He dies by a shade at the end of the story.
Okay.
Who was Silence's grandfather, right? Right?
maybe.
Or no, it was just father, right?
Maybe.
No.
He died by a shade.
Okay.
At the end, that was the guy.
So, Ben, do you have a guess? Before I confirm or deny Eric.
I'm gonna say it was the banker character in Era 2 that I can't
I
remember
think that
was more than one
anything
banker.
else about.
So you don't remember Edward Ladrian, Wax's uncle,
There you go.
which is wrong
Wait, he's
because
not-
Eric is right.
No, he takes Wax to a banker.
He was involved with money, but I don't think any of you heard what I just said about Eric being right.
Oh, is Eric right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, right. No, yeah.
What
we
was
did
his
hear that
name?
part.
Theopolis.
Did it start with a T? It started with a T.
Okay, so for
Look,
the record,
Look,
my next clue was this person resides in a system heavily affected by odium.
Ooh, that would have.
oh
Thrown
man,
us.
that would be definitely one that if David was on the podcast, he would argue with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But I guess it was affected by Ambition's death.
Yeah.
But like,
Which was Odium's fault. Yeah.
Clue number 4
So.
was this character is killed by an cognitive shadow.
yeah,
And then clue number 5 was this character works with Silence Montaigne.
Yeah. Well done, Eric.
Yes, very good.
I'm pretty pleased with my two guesses.
Yes,
okay?
you were
Zoo
very good.
and that like okay, but like no, and God help me if there's a minor character in Six of the Dusk.
I almost did a Six of the Dusk character, but I'm like, I'm not going to be that mean.
I think you.
There's not really that many
There
characters.
is-
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many
Ooh.
characters are in 6?
I'm almost certain there's only 2.
There's 3.
6. And who's number 3?
The first of the Sky, who is the dead guy they find.
I wouldn't count that as a character.
He has been a character on Who's That Cosmere character before.
Oh, has he? Oh, okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
as have both of his AVR. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, the AVR ones I enjoy. Cool.
That's not true, Ben. There's also Yalani the Brave, who's a mythological Elikin woman.
I thought we weren't allowed to have mythological characters on Who's a Cosmic Character anymore.
You're definitely right. I'm just saying there's more than 2 characters there. That's all I'm saying.
Which I disagree with. You can still send in mythological characters as long as you include it in the clues.
as long as they're good.
Yeah, if they're good,
obvious,
and you make it clear that it's
a character needs to be mentioned more than literally once, I think. Like, come on.
Though we have done that.
We've said
those are good. Like the King of Silnasin is mentioned once, and we did that one.
Yeah, but that was also like a giant paragraph about him. That wasn't just like literally a single sentence.
Yeah,
if the sentence, that's different, right? Yeah. There was like an entire page on it of Yasna reading about that king, which is different from Xts, which was mentioned literally once in a single sentence. Like, come on, those are different things. We're done. Follow us on 17shard.com. We have all the news, theories, discussion, and fun that you could ever want. You can find us on Discord. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube. Leave us a comment below. Leave us a review on iTunes, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Caw.